For this video, I created a new note. Notebook named Module 2 Typecasting. In the previous module, I said that the input function always returns a string, even if you ask the user to provide a number. Take a look at the sample code. On line 1, we ask the user to provide their height in centimeters. On line 2, we try to show the height converted into feet. However, when we run the program and we provide the height, you can see that the code throws an error. That's because the value we get from the user is a string, and on line 2, you can't divide a string by float. Python doesn't allow this operation. We know that the user is asked to provide a number, so we somehow need to find a way to convert the string number into a float number. Luckily, it's very easy in Python. We have a dedicated function named float. The float function accepts one argument, a string value, and the function tries to convert that value into a float. We can add the float function to our code in a couple of ways. First of all, we can introduce a new variable. On line 2, we'll now add flow height centimeters equals float height centimeters from line 1. As you provide the height, you can see that the program works fine. We can also use two functions in a single line. Let me now copy paste the program. And method 2 is to get rid of line 2, get back to what we had at the beginning. And now we can also use two functions in a single line. So here we'll surround the input invocation with a float invocation. If you now press Shift plus Enter, you can see that the program works the very same way. The second option is a common practice in Python. One function becomes the argument of another function, and you can see that both versions of this program work the same way. If you need an integer instead of a float, you can use a similar function, int. Int takes a string input and tries to convert it into an integer. Take a look at the sample program now. This program asks the user about the year they were born in, and then it tries to do some calculations with the year. Obviously, the year should be an integer. And here you can see that we use the int function instead of the float function. If we now use Shift plus Enter, and we provide the year we were born, you can see that the program works correctly. There's also a reverted function. You can convert an integer or a float into a string using the str function. You will for sure use this one less often, but it can be very useful when you want to include the results of some calculations in a string. For example, take a look at this program. This program asks the user to provide the temperature today in Celsius degrees. Then it calculates the temperature in Fahrenheit degrees, and it creates a new string, which is a result of multiple concatenations. Here we want to show the temperature in Celsius degrees, which is already a string, by the way. And then we also want to show the temperature in Fahrenheit, which is not a string, it's a float. And now if we run the program with Shift plus Enter and we provide the temperature, you can see the program works correctly. Note two things. In the world of computer programming, type conversion, which means changing from strings to floats or from integers to strings, is often called typecasting. We can say that we can cast a string to an integer or that we cast a float into a string. Second of all, we said that the typecasting functions, float, int, or str, they only try to cast the values, but they may fail. If you ask the user for a number and they provide, for example, the name, Python will not know how to convert a string name into a number. In such cases, your programs will fail. In more advanced programming, you will learn how to avoid such situations. But for now, we'll have to trust the users to enter valid things. Okay, that's it for this video. You can save the notebook and close it for now.